This is Thirst Impressions. I'm Belinda, and tonight it's Wine and Wine. And Will, what are you fucking drinking?
You know what? I'm fucking drinking Starbro. And
Yes.
It's a song. We'll get into that later in the episode.
Okay. Spencer, what are you fucking drinking?
I'm fucking drinking Angeline, motherfucker. It's a Pinot Noir.
Oh my God, yeah. All the Angeline. Okay, Kevin, what the fuck you drinking? I can't speak anymore.
I'm drinking M+1.
Boom.
South American delicious wine.
French knockoff,
drinking
motherfucker.
Raymond. This
Amazing.
Impressions. Good night.
Does McDonald's pair well with wine, though? That's the question.
Oh, it would. I think a Big Mac, especially, you get a little bit of that salad and salad dressing.
Beef and wine, right? Beef and red wine.
It's fancy, really.
Well, today we're doing wine and wine. That is our topic. Yeah. So welcome to the show.
Intro is gonna get fucked up, but you'll fix it, Spencer.
Yeah,
you'll fix it.
We'll cut
it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't say anything, it would be fine, but it's all good.
Will you cut that shit? Yeah.
So yeah, today we're drinking.
Go ahead.
Today we're drinking wine and complaining or celebrating the things we love in life.
Wine and wine.
I decided to experiment. I have a Pinot Noir. It's a cheap one. It's like, you know how Pinot Noir is.
Pinot Noir?
This Pinot Noir is from Angeline Vineyards, California.
Ooh.
Never heard of this.
I think it was $12 for the bottle here in Utah.
Nice.
Which
that's a bargain.
Solid, yeah.
You pay $20 for it when you check out. Just kidding. But
it's a solid 3.6, I bet.
This is a solid 3. It's a decent it's decent, but it's cheap. I mean, it's Pinot Noirs though. You gotta
where are you guys getting those numbers? What are those
from the Vivino app?
Vivino.
Oh yeah. So there's this app you can get on your phone, and it's called Vivino.
This podcast is brought to you by Vivino. Just kidding.
And you just take a picture. Oh, there's me. I can rate myself. Let's see what it rates me.
No, it's not. For those listening, Belinda said rate, R-A-T-E.
Rate, yes.
Oh,
just to clarify.
Okay, so you take a photo of your label, and it will tell you. So based on your ratings of other wines, so if you go in and rate wines you've purchased before, it'll tell you like, oh, we think you actually might like this, or you might not like. So this one is an old favorite. It's a Raymond Chardonnay. And it's a 4.0. And I like to keep around the 4.
So, but the rating is actually not based on your own ratings. It's based on the other users. But and there's usually.
And then under that is like a match for you thing.
Yeah.
So mine says like, this is a 99% match because it knows I've bought this a million times and I love it. So
mine is a solid 3.7 as Pinots go by Vivinos.
That's not bad for that price though.
That's not bad at all.
It's fine. You know, I used to be more snobby and snooty about wine. Like I'd only buy bottles that were $20 or more. And then I decided to try cheap wine. And then I realized it's not that different.
It's not that different. No, it's not. I've had really expensive wine that I was like, this doesn't taste good. I don't even want to finish it. Like,
yeah,
I always do. I always muscle through, but you know.
So apologies if any sommeliers are listening, but you know, I think a lot of it's just it's the story.
Hashtag
it's the narrative.
Jenna.
Yeah, it's the story behind it. You know, this wine was grown on vineyards that were frequented by chickens. And you can taste.
There's a taste of chicken shit.
What was that movie where they like?
You smell the chicken shit?
What's the movie where they like fooled the wine, the sommeliers or whatever?
That sounds like some Borat shit.
But no, is that a movie or is that a documentary? Because there was
maybe I'm mixing up 2 different movies.
There was a famous documentary where like some of the world's top.
That's the whiskey one, right?
No, this is a wine one.
Oh, okay.
Vivino can't find my wine.
What wine are you having, Will?
Dude, turn it around. Don't take a picture of yourself.
Okay, so I can't pronounce this. So
okay.
For now on, these are just splonks to me. These are splonks.
A Splunk vintage. Yeah.
Yeah. A Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
So it's Starborough. I got this one.
Oh yeah, from New Zealand. That's
I've had that one before. Yeah.
Actually, Spencer, you recommended a Dog Point, right?
Yes. Did you try it?
Yeah, I got 2 bottles, and that's the other bottle I got.
Have you had it yet?
I think I have. You know, I do. I have
so
had
good.
It.
It is so
It is
good.
delicious.
That is
It's
a
so
wine
good.
I would happily pay the $20 to $30 for. Dog Point. What do you have?
I'm having a bottle a type of grape I've never had before called Cominière, which was actually a Bordeaux wine. It was originally grown in Bordeaux, France, and is a cousin to Merlot. Fuck Merlot, but fuck Merlot.
Wow. Wow, I didn't. You have such strong.
You guys don't know the reference. You don't know the reference.
It's
a
a
movie.
movie.
Okay.
A great wine movie, but no. The French were kind of snobby, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't fucking like this wine very much." But the Chileans imported it in the 19th century, thinking it was Merlot, and have been growing it all this year, selling it as Merlot. And then back in I think it was the 1980s or maybe even 90s. A French wine historian was there, and he's like, "This isn't Merlot, this is Cominière or whatever." So now they have this big market of Cominière, and it's made a resurgence. So that's good. It's very good, very plummy, very like plum dark fruit meets tobacco. Very good.
Okay. Belinda, you've got a Chardonnay.
I do have a Chardonnay, and it's good. It's not buttery or very oaky. It's just kind of bright. That's kind of what I tend toward, especially in whites, is bright, crisp, just fresh, like green apples and stuff like that. That's what I love. So
do you like a Riesling?
It hits just right. Yeah.
She loves a Riesling. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is a Chardonnay, but I do love Rieslings. Love.
Yeah,
Rieslings.
I ventured into Chardonnay for a bit, and then I quickly left that world.
Chardonnay's tricky because it can go to extremes, and then wild. You're like, oh yeah, they're funky and weird, and you get all that buttery oaky shit that's kind of it can be too much if that's not your thing, and
it's like
I still think my favorite
the Kool-Aid man equivalent of
oh my god,
Chardonnay.
Well, if you get a $12 or less bottle of Chardonnay, you're probably gonna. It's most wines are gonna taste like that.
This one's like a 22 bottle wine, usually around that, or 25. I don't know. It's a nicer one, but that's what I had.
If you're a wine lover, but I decided to experiment tonight, and so since I got a cheaper Pinot Noir, I actually decided to add some Monopoloa vodka.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that vodka.
Noir.
There you go.
So I'm drinking a hard Pinot tonight.
A hard Pinot.
Nice.
Amazing.
You're riding a hard Pinot?
I'm riding a hard Pinot tonight.
Nice.
It's been actually really good. I don't know why. I don't know if anyone just didn't think of this or tell me about it, but it is a revelation.
Yeah. Do you think it would taste good in a Splunk?
What does Splunk? What is the
Sauvignon Blanc?
This
Sauvignon Blanc.
It's a Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah.
It's shortened.
Okay.
It's because I can't say the first word.
Technical term. I don't understand.
Do you think it would taste good in a Splunk?
I mean,
no.
Vodka's a neutral grain spirit. You might as well try it out.
I'm absolutely gonna try this.
I mean, it won't hurt you. It will only help. So,
well, like all wine and wine nights, we complain or celebrate things. And for me, I'm here to bitch about life because, the funny thing about life is for me, and I've been in our pre-show talked about this, but I've been writing my story out a bit. It's been good to revisit the past and see through fresh eyes. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, man, I hate being an adult. Some days I just wish life could be simple, loads of laundry, responsibilities. I mean, fuck, I got sick this week or last week. If you notice, we didn't have a show. Got the old strep because I decided to run around town like a Trump supporter. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I had to run around town without a mask, and then I fucking got sick the first time. Crazy. Anyhow,
I know those masks.
To be clear, not with COVID, but with the strep.
With strep. So I got.
The masks did help to stop the spread of stuff like strep.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I probably should have washed my hands too. That's also part of strep. But I had to go to the doctor, and I am self-employed, and this is where I think this will touch on.
Oh, no.
So I had to go to the doctor.
No, Spencer.
I can't get an appointment. Can't get an appointment because for whatever reason, I'm like, I literally think I have strep. Can I get it? No. You got to go to urgent care. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Urgent care.
Hi.
Thankfully, I do have insurance that I pay for. Turns out my copay is like $65, right? So I'm like, oh shit. Well, I got to pay $65 just so they can test me for something I know I have. It. Anyhow, eventually go in. Sure enough, have strep. They ask you all the other questions. Is anyone hitting you at home? Stuff like that. And
my God.
No, these are real questions.
Yeah.
Then I go to the pharmacy and I have to pay again. And I'm like, how is this real life? Why is this my existence? Why am I paying for so much for this shit? And yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, I can afford it, but it's a lot of fucking money. And
it is.
I think about the arc, the journey, the path of humanity as a whole, and how we've gotten to this place of extreme selfishness and extreme cost. And none of it makes sense to me. The very concept of land ownership and money and paying for healthcare and all this stuff makes no sense. And I'm not entirely an anarchist. I do, as a designer, I think there's a part of me in my being, in my soul, that likes to question everything. Like, why is it this way? Maybe there's some good reasons, but I cannot imagine us as a society progressing if we have these regressive ideas about ownership and IP. And
a regressive idea, Spencer, like vodka and wine. No, that is not a good match.
Yes,
it's so
yes, so bad.
Did it
all right, now I kind of want to try it.
You have to try it.
You should get your monoclova, Kevin.
Pro tip: vodka is not good in splunks. Not good.
To be fair, Will is using Sky vodka, so
true.
I'm just saying.
It's just vodka, right?
Fair enough. That's a good point. No, I hear you, Spencer. Money is stupid.
It's weird. It's fucking weird. It is weird.
Seriously, like,
it's entirely money is not an
stupid.
Objective quantity or measure of anything. It's all subjective.
It's not. No, it's not.
Is the time of a CEO really worth $5,000 a second or whatever?
No.
Like no fucking way.
Never.
No fucking way.
Money.
Oh, Kevin's doing the vodka.
Ooh.
I've had little enough to eat that the wine is doing just fine in its own.
It smells like a bad idea already.
Oh my God.
To be honest,
you need to stir it up.
Yeah.
I don't.
Mine is good.
Should I use this?
Oh, we'll cut that.
Put a marker. You got plenty of markers on your desk.
I've got a pencil here. I won't use the graphite end. There we go.
So yeah, I'm just maybe I'm just at a midlife point where nothing makes sense anymore. And like, why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I getting up and doing the same shit every day if I'm not getting ahead, or if I'm not in a position where I feel like my time or my energy, creatively or otherwise, is valuable? It makes no sense. Kevin is not responding well to the vodka wine.
No, I'm thinking on it. It's not bad.
Thank you. If you want to get there fast.
Maybe I think with red wine.
With red wine, yeah, because the stronger flavor of the red wine. Again, like I might do it with box wine if I really just wanted to get fucked up. Yeah,
exactly.
But no, it's not especially delicious. No,
I mean, it's summer. You might as well, right?
Yeah,
might as well. Yeah.
That's what I say.
No,
I don't know what that means, but
I mean, and I know we touch on this theme a lot, topic, but it's just been top of mind. Like, and those are just two experiences this week. I mean, I'm a single parent and I have tons of responsibilities, and I asked some friends today. I'm like, what does it mean to actually thrive in life? Because I don't know. I feel like I'm just surviving. Like, I feel like
but it seems like you're thriving from an outsider's perspective. From outside, to be honest.
But dude, I don't even do extracurricular shit with my kids. I feel like I don't have the capacity.
You're like scraping constantly, right? You're like on the clock always. Yeah.
Oh my God. So no, Spencer, I'm just a little frustrated with life.
I think about that all the time. Just like, it's so stupid. Like it's why the fuck do we have this system set up in place where we're expected to work for like 40 hours just so that we could live our life? That is stupid. Why on earth do we need to sell our labor in order to like enjoy life?
That's why I love that meme that's been out the last few weeks. It's like, what's your dream job? And they're like, why would I dream about labor?
Yeah, no,
like,
seriously,
there is literally no reason they couldn't give land away for free in the United States.
No,
like,
it's
I'm dead ass serious. There's no fucking reason. I went on a road trip this weekend. There's so much goddamn land out there. So much.
Yeah.
Especially if you've traveled to other countries at all, like especially Europe and places like that, you come back here and you're like,
holy shit,
why is there so much space? Like everything's huge, everything's like,
well,
like
I think
enormous.
And why did my ancestors think it was a great idea to come to Salt Lake fucking City, Utah, instead of a fucking island in Denmark where it's like beautiful and green and you live in a thatched roof cottage and like it's so quaint.
And the government pays for your medical bills.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't come without its problems potentially, but even then, like,
sure. I
just feel like there's so much. There's so much in this.
There's so much abundance in the world, and people hoard it.
Yes.
People hoard it.
I tend to think of it like if I'm gonna put my capitalist hat on, and I'm gonna try not to say the dirty S word, but if I put my capitalist
slut
hat on, sex? No, that's not a dirty word, Kevin.
Well, I don't know. Salt Lake?
What? No, socialist.
That's not a dirty word either.
Yeah, you're right. No, but like I think like this requirement people have on for them to sell their labor has really hindered innovation, which is something that capitalists talk about all the time. Money, the requirement to have money in order to live your life, that itself is hindering innovation. Could you imagine all the immigrants that are coming into our country? If we gave them some nice place to live, we gave them all the different utilities like that they need in order to start their own business, or put their kids through school, or anything like that. If we gave a bigger portion of the population, and I'm not saying just like immigrants, I'm saying like anybody, if we gave every single person the ability to live their life the way that they want to, they will choose to do awesome things.
Right.
I believe that. I think people want to do good with their life. Yeah. They want to choose a career path or some activity that they do every week to better themselves, to be part of a community, to help other people. And if we just gave people the tools to do that, they would do it.
I agree.
We just don't give them those tools. We tell them go work for 40 hours a week and maybe you'll have money on the side.
And we set expectations for them that only certain things are worthy of their attention.
Yeah.
So I was on a 3.5 hour car ride with my almost 16-year-old son today, earlier in the day. And, you know, as a dad does, I was like, so how you doing? And we've had some drama like in the family and things like that. So I was checking in. I was trying to be dad, you know, and somehow we got on the subject of like career goals, which is actually not something I actually talk to my kids a lot about, because I just know from experience, like some people know what they want to do. Some people don't want to know what they do. And nobody comes at that place at the same time. Like you can know what you want to do at age 10, or you can know what you want to do at age 65, you know? But I was just like, so like, what are you thinking? Like, you know, we just finished the school year. He's going to be a junior this upcoming school year. And he's like, I have some really solid ideas. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and things about it, but it's pretty unconventional. It's pretty weird. Oh. And he was asking me about my job and like my education and like how I got my job and how I got to where I was and how much I make and things like that. So we were talking about it for a while. And then I was like, wait, you never told me what you're thinking. He's like, you're going to think it's weird. I'm like, I'm not going to think it's weird. And then he's like, I'm really into like grilling things.
Cool.
And I'm like,
awesome.
Like being a chef, like
a barbecue chef.
Interesting.
Like,
there you go.
He wants to grill. He wants to like smoke it up, if you will.
I mean, who doesn't, Kevin?
But
I don't like to smoke it up.
No.
There's a restaurant in Dallas that's called Smoke. Or no, the guy who runs it he wrote a book called Smoke, and he like even smokes ice for your cocktails.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
ice.
And so everything you get there is smoked. It was actually really interesting. It's delicious food. Absolutely.
How does the ice melt?
So what you do is you put a pan of water in on the grill and you let it sit there, and it kind of like infuses the water with the smoke. And then you
freeze it. Yeah.
And then once you like, put it in your drink, it's got this smoky flavor, and the cocktails were amazing there. It was beautiful. So yeah, you should totally go for it. Like, yeah.
No, that's what I said to him. I said, you know what? So I told him about that Francis Malmon. Do you remember that documentary we watched on that chef from Argentina?
Oh, I was
who cooks everything over fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, watch this, get inspired.
Okay, that episode is fucking triggering, man. That was one of the reasons, or one of the episodes is a part of my divorce, but that's a whole other story.
From chef, what's it called?
Chef's Table.
What?
I think he was from Uruguay, I believe.
Yeah. But he lives in Argentina and Uruguay. But yeah,
I will let your imaginations run wild. However, at the time, I was in a much different mindset than I am now. The episode deals with a chef who has a partner, but also a side.
Oh, true.
Yes.
True.
Relationship. And at times, something very unconventional, and certainly
I don't remember that part of it.
He's a pretty unconventional guy.
The whole thing.
He's like this older guy, he wears capes and hats. He's very straight flamboyant, as I would call it.
Yes, very expressive.
But he owns this island. He owns this island in the middle of Argentina somewhere.
Food on fire.
And he brings teenagers and kids in their early 20s to an island to like this cooking commune. Like it's fucking awesome too. Like the food thing's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Kevin,
me and Melinda's face when you said that, we're like,
it's season one, episode 3. No, if you watch it again, Belinda, you'll be like, oh dude's maybe a little creepy, but yeah.
His name wasn't Jeffrey Epstein, was it?
Oh, no. Okay. But there could be a correlation. I don't know. But food wise, I would love to eat his food. Yeah.
I'm so glad I finished that glass. Oh my God.
I just added a bunch more wine. Yeah. No.
Man, you guys, you don't even know what's up, man.
I can't remember what I was going to say. There was something in response to what Spencer was saying, but Jesus, it was so great.
I have another thing to say.
Okay, tell it.
I think one of the things that makes it hard, at least here in America and probably most other parts of the world, is like we just really gauge people's status in society by how much money they have.
Yep.
And absolutely. I think
it's like all of a sudden you're super fucking smart because you have money. It's like no.
Yeah.
No, but like that is what okay.
Oh, I'm
out of anything in remember it, Belinda.
Okay.
Out of anything in capitalism that pisses me off, it's that. Because what? Like you have more money, so
like some made up imaginary way of counting, right?
It's like British accents. People, you have a British accent, everyone's always like, "Oh man, this person's really."
Your IQ is automatically
it's worse.
They're fucking elevated.
You really have people who think that if you're rich, you're somehow this major success. Okay, you were successful in acquiring money either by your parents or by some luck that your parents were rich enough to have a computer that you could play around with when the computer started going. That pisses me off the most is the correlation that our society gives for money and status. And if there's one thing in my lifetime I want to see abolished of a lot of people talk about abolishing capitalism. It's not going to happen. I want to see, let's abolish the idea that money equates to status. fuck that shit. That's the biggest bullshit on earth.
Here's why it won't happen. The way we learn things, the way we understand things are controlled by the people with the money.
Exactly. No. That's why that's why a lot of like economists, like they look at the way people listen to rich people, and they largely say that we live in an oligarchy. Like, we don't live in a democracy or a republic. We live in an oligarchy because the people with the most money have the biggest voice.
There was likely a small window of time in which things were much more egalitarian, at least for white people. And that time is far gone. The American dream has withered.
American dream. What? There's no such. American dream is the biggest bullshit.
There was, but it was not inclusive. It was not.
But I feel like that was a very tiny sliver window that was somewhere for white people right around the end of the Civil War, because you look at anyone who was successful
I got goosebumps
in early America, and they came from money, they came from power. Like, all the founding fathers were like elite. They were elite, right? Yeah. And that's why they were founding fathers. Well, most, like, not Alexander Hamilton. Yeah. But it was rare. It was very rare, just like it is today. Yeah. And then once you got to the what do you call it? The Industrial Revolution, like, shit was all about money again. It was definitely all about money.
And then like you said, Kevin, like that sliver of time, it was during right after when they were trying to fix the Great Depression after World War II, when FDR introduced the New Deal, which is like, people were calling him a socialist, and FDR himself was not a socialist. He was very liberal, but there was a socialist party and there was a communist party, and both of those parties were really powerful, and they were able to lobby FDR to push for the New Deal. Mm-hmm. And during that time period, even though taxes were like 90%, like it was 90%, the highest tax rate was at like 95% or something crazy. Yeah. And during this time period was the greatest expansion of the American empire. That is when America created the middle class. That is when college was basically free. It's like, it still required money, but it was basically free. You had this is barring like what Spencer says, this is very important aspect, was the New Deal did have some very racist aspects to it. Yeah. Such as like redlining is the biggest example of it. They literally built highways over entire cities of Black people. Yep. And like I could literally talk about this for hours, but suffice it to say, you're totally right, Kevin, like, and Spencer, like, there was this sliver of time when we didn't live in such a capitalist society. We lived in this much more mixed economy where we had socialistic programs, like federal jobs that people could apply to and basically get whatever job they wanted. And we just don't have that nowadays. And all those people that grew up during that era, they thrived, and they talked about the American dream, and they told their kids about it. And then their kids grew up, and those are the boomers. Those are the people who are like, oh, why do millennials complain so much? Like, eat less of avocado toast and you'll be fine. These people never had to experience an economy. Don't get so many
lattes.
They didn't have to experience an economy where tuition to college is astronomical. It's nearly unaffordable unless you have rich parents or you want to go into debt. They haven't experienced this type of economy.
I haven't met very many people in recent time who have gone through college recently in the last decade or so who don't have six-figure student debt. Six-figure minimum. And sometimes it's multi-six-figure. And by the way, avocado toast is delicious. So
say what you
don't
want
fuck with avocado toast.
It is amazing.
Say what we want about BYU, I mean, but it was hella fucking cheap.
It was cheap.
And like compared to a lot of people,
Mormon.
Compared to a lot of people,
if you're Mormon and
even
you
if
live
you're
in
not,
Utah,
even if you're not, though, even if you're not,
really,
because
but if you're Mormon, it's hella cheap. It's like
relatively
cheap.
speaking, yeah. I mean,
it's
I graduated
it's gone up, but
without student debt, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't graduate and I had student debt, but that's because I like to spend money, so it's a different story altogether. But
well, as someone who just, I guess, sort of recently went to college, I have my own privileges. My parents paid for my first 2 years of college. I was just very privileged that way. But when it came time for me to pay for college, like after those 2 years, like Utah was like, okay, well, if you're going to take all these classes, I like did my schedule and then was going to like register for it. I was going to Utah State, not Utah. I was going to University of Utah at the time. And it was going to be about like $6,000. And I'm like, I just barely had to take out a private loan to pay for rent this month. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to pay $6,000. Are you kidding?
Education
for a student is insane. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was probably the most recently in school, and I won a NASA STEM scholarship.
Whoa.
And, it fucked up my funding. Like I had all these grants because I, was poor and I was a single mom and all these things. And I got this scholarship and I was like, oh my God, this is like a testament to how hard I've worked all these years.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they gave you more money than they should have. So now we have to take money away from you. It's just this whole game. It's ridiculous. But something I wanted to say is like last week, they added me to an interview, a job interview at work. And I'm brand new to the department. And I was like, oh, okay. And our VP, I guess, teaches some classes at a local university and has a TA he says, brilliant and whatever. And he wanted us to interview him for a position on our team. And he's like, but there's a bit of a language barrier. But he's great, so we interview him. Language barrier, my foot there, that was nothing. The guy's from Eastern Africa and he is fucking brilliant. Okay, this guy has worked on like multi-country like transportation projects and all this stuff. Like he's telling us this stuff and I'm like fucking floored by like his talent. And the after conversation in the interview is all about like, we don't know if HR is going to do the required paperwork to onboard him after his graduation from school. And I'm like, okay, let me do the research. Okay. So I have a friend and she's a brilliant HR person. She is smart as shit. She knows everything there is to know about any immigration issue ever.
She's so badass too.
She is. She will fuck you up. She minces zero words.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's great. She's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie, but she's also amazing. And so I text her and I say, this dude is amazing. He's beyond anybody in our department in terms of know-how or like, you know what I mean? He's genius level, this dude. We need to get him on our team. But HR, they want to be more diverse, shall we say, but sometimes they're not willing to put in the work. And one of the guys in our interview was like, let's make them put their mouth where their money where their mouth is, right? So like, let's, they need to bring this guy on. He's amazing, obviously. So I was like, let me find out what it would entail to get this guy on, and it's like nothing on our part until he graduates, right? And then we have to help him file for his visa, that sort of thing. There's so many things that can help his situation, but like, I mean, the American dream, I don't think his dream should be American, to be honest with you. I think that's a terrible mistake.
I can understand it though, because even like I mentioned, I'm writing my story. But growing up, I had an aspirational outlook and perspective of America. America meant so much, optimistically speaking. And then you get here and you're like, oh shit, I'm Black. And then reality like kind of crumbles for you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate in some ways and benefited from help from others. I will say that, but it is hard. It is hard coming in cold and trying to build a life.
For sure.
In the quote unquote land of opportunity.
Yeah.
See, that's where like I as a socialist, I just want us to live up to the American dream. Like that, like if like it's as simple as that, is I want to make the American dream a reality. Yeah. Like I wish we could turn America into this amazing place where everybody is treated equally, everybody has the same ability to achieve whatever they want to. Yeah. That's what I want. I want the American dream. I want to make that a reality.
And my friend, she was like, it's in Trump's America for him to have received a visa to attend school in the United States as a graduate student from this certain country. He's got to be
really good.
Yes. Yeah. He's the brightest of the brightest, right? Like,
yeah. So like, let me tell you just a real fast story about, so my cousin, he married a woman from Peru, but they're just dating. She was on a student visa here in America, and they decided to go on a little trip to Cancun, and they went to Cancun. And when they were coming back, the immigration office was like, "Oh, you didn't notify us that you guys were going to leave the country. So you can't come back to America. You're banned." So like literally they're like in Mexico, and he's an American citizen, but she's a Peruvian, and now she's like literally banned from America. And this was during the Trump administration. And so they go back to Peru, they live with her family, and they get married in Peru. And like not official marriage, like they have like the ceremony and everything because they want to get married in America so that she can get her citizenship. Which is also stupid shit. But
right.
Anyways, side note, they lived in Mexico for a while and their rent was like $150.
Wait, who did you say this was?
This was like last year.
No, but who?
My cousin.
Oh, cousin.
Yeah.
So someone you know well.
Somebody who I know very well. Anyways, so fast forward.
$150 a month.
Biden wins the election. Biden gets into office. They re-appeal to her ban. And the Biden administration was like, oh yeah, this is so stupid. Yeah, of course. You're back in America. If you guys get married, she can have the American citizenship. Like it was night and day. It was like literally like, oh, you're completely banned from America because you're from Peru and you fucked up on the rules. And then Biden comes into office and like literally it was like, oh yeah, this is just a clerical error. Here, come to America. As soon as you get married, like you get citizenship. Like it was like seriously night and day.
I feel like there should actually be a grant program for immigrants. Like we talked about immigrants, businesses or being contributing members of society. I've certainly done my part in my profession, but I know many immigrants that are super hardworking and believe like
this is the last
through and through this the hope of this American dream, and they work their asses off.
The last thing I'll say on the subject, and then Kevin, you can whine, is who is the bear? Like seriously, if you wanted to bring people to America, like if you were like, I want to find the best Americans like to bring to America and to make our country better, who better than immigrants that choose America?
Right. It's the dumbest shit ever. People who want to be here, want to be successful, want to like.
Yeah. You know what? There's a lot of Americans that would rather live in other countries. I'm one of those people. Like seriously, immigrants choose this country. Let's invite them in. Let's give them the money to do whatever they want and see how fucking awesome they can be.
Right.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
So first of all, let me say, thank God that like the Biden administration did say that, because let's be completely transparent. They haven't been
great about it.
great about immigration so far.
Yes,
that's a fact.
Oh, I am.
They haven't changed too much about.
I'm
from the Trump administration. Right?
I am in no way like praising Biden's administration.
No. I know.
But
no,
it was a step above, right? Like of what we have,
sure,
right?
sure.
Like all like when I was telling my friends and family like vote for Biden over Trump because Biden will be better. This is one of those things. Like I'm not saying Biden is a million times better than Trump, but like this is one of those things.
When you go down, not having to wake up every morning and hear today the president.
Oh God!
Right? Is it? Oh my God! He said what?
To me, that's worth
it.
Isn't it nice to go a day and not even think about the president of the United States, right? Just be like, I haven't thought about the president for like 3 days.
I was
That's
considering
awesome.
this because in the last couple months, we've struggled to come up with topics to discuss sometimes because there is not something completely fucked up in the news from the president every single goddamn day.
Guys, we landed on Mars. Awesome.
Right.
Talk about some UFOs and shit. Not, oh my God. I think we kicked things off with a siege on the Capitol. Like,
how
much does that feel like
the alternate reality at this point?
It's a shit show every day. And so we always have shit to talk about. And so our text messages were blowing up every fucking day. And now it's like,
now it's been pretty chill.
Like, I know. I text 2 or 3 times a day now. There's not so much going on.
Now it's Belinda at a thrift shop sending us weird random shit, photos of weird random shit. So like a strawberry face. But you got some cool stuff. You'll get it soon.
Kevin, I really want you to get to what you're gonna say. But what I was gonna say is like, okay, it's this idea of a lot of people think that artificial intelligence, which is not real, there's no such thing as AI. It will not exist.
We fought about this.
Literally, AI will not.
We don't fight.
This is an entirely different episode, but AI will not exist for decades and decades and probably a whole century. It will not. Sorry.
But we need to record an episode on this one.
We do.
It'll be a good one. Yeah.
Wait. Let me get to what I was going to say though. But what AI, which is,
I love that you just threw that out there. You were just and by the way, we're not talking about this at all. But AI will not exist, Kevin. It won't. It fucking
will not exist, Kevin. No. What people confuse with what, like, a lot of companies will be like, oh yeah, we use artificial intelligence to do blah 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 blah. What they are talking about is machine learning algorithms that they have tuned to do certain tasks. Anyways, what I'm getting at is in the labor market, if we had machine learning to be able to be like, okay, make this decision and then make this decision, and then this is the most probable outcome, that will help workers be able to better prepare for like situations or make decisions. And that will free up their mind to allow them to think of like the things on the edges, the more innovative type of thinking,
like the crust on a good brownie.
Sure, I don't know what that means, but yes, exactly that.
The crust on the brownie. The edge pieces.
You know how to cut a perfect brownie slice without it tearing up your brownie.
It's probably a little bit different than what I'm describing, but very similar.
I'm sorry.
But anyways,
it's a plastic knife. A plastic knife to cut a brownie will not tear up your brownies. It will cut a perfect slice every time.
Oh my God. Okay. That does work perfectly then.
Just a tip from Belinda.
Just a tip from Belinda.
What I was going to say was, like, without Trump being in office, that allows the rest of the country the space to think about deeper things, to think about like, oh fuck, the president of the United States is comparing nuclear buttons, like nuclear Holocaust buttons, with North Korea. I'm gonna think about that all fucking day because we might literally blow up in an apocalypse because Trump is
for real.
Oh
Thank God there are aliens to stop that.
Thank God that like Biden won, because now we don't need to think about that. And instead we can think about things like, oh, which is better, a public option or Medicare for all? Like, it switches, it moves the dialect and the type of discussions we have into a more productive arena where we can actually like be like, that's a good idea, that's a dumb idea, instead of like, oh, we might like literally blow up because the president was on Ambien or like snorting Adderall or something while he's shitting on the toilet at 6 a.m. Like that's like the range of discussion we had.
It's true though.
I never thought about that. I wonder if he can't sleep and he takes Ambien, and like, because all of his weird shit was mostly late at night, like middle of the night, and he's just like, because my mom gets high on Ambien sometimes, and she's like, she sends random texts
from her,
and she's like, Bob's gonna murder someone, like he's got a knife, and we're to me and my siblings,
my child that died. We're like, what child that died?
And we're like, what?
Okay, you got this backwards though. It's the KFC meat sweats. It's not Ambien.
KFC.
Either way, yeah. Either way,
sweats. It's the midnight meat.
It's the well done steak with ketchup.
The midnight meat sweats got this motherfucker up to tweet.
Instead of the Cheeto dust, they have the Ambien dust on the KFC. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin, we're gonna switch to you right now because this conversation needs to end. But before it does, one last thing is I read a story or like some sort of thing.
One last thing.
Where supposedly Trump is talking to people saying that he's going to be reinstated as president as soon as this fall.
Yeah, because of the Arizona recount.
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking Arizona recount. Like, Jesus.
Is that your
you
wine,
lost.
Kevin?
What's that?
Is that your wine? Arizona recount?
No. Well, I mean, yes, it is. So my hat is my wine. Read that. If you're not looking, it says trust no one. And I kind of feel like this could be a Trump hand right here, but anyway, it's too big probably. But here's the thing. I'm not really. You all know I'm a little bit of an optimist in certain ways, right? Like I trust people, even though my hat says trust no one. Like individuals that I meet. I need that hat,
by the way.
I'm a friend. It's a good one. Yeah, the whole company. We'll put it in the show.
Is it Wicked Close?
No, it's I can't remember off the top of my head. You put it in the show notes. Yeah. But what I mean by trust no one is it kind of piggybacks on what Will was just saying. Will was talking about like giving us the space to actually think about things that matter. We need to be individuals. We need to be humans who think for ourselves. And I'm not just talking about Republican and Democrat. I'm not even talking about the extremes of liberalism, socialism, communism, any of those things. If I had to place myself in one of those categories, I would say probably socialist, but really anarchist socialist to some degree. But like, it doesn't really, those things don't really matter. What matters is thinking for ourselves. I think Spencer and I were just talking about this. Like we live in this vast universe and we somehow, some way became beings, right? Like the human race became things who can, in a very limited way, likely compared to who knows how many other civilizations are out there. And we're not getting into aliens. Don't worry, people who stress about that.
Just other dimensions.
Yeah, just dimensions. But dimensionally, we're maybe far from like the most intelligent, the most well-informed, the most whatever. And that's fine. But we can goddamn think for ourselves once in a while, right?
Sometimes
and that's what I'm talking about. Religion, politics. I'm going to be honest with you. Even the education system and nationalism and all of these things tie into us not thinking for ourselves. And I would venture a guess in the area we live in, the four of us live in, the greater Salt Lake City area, a vast majority of people don't actually think for themselves. I remember being in a place where I grew up in a very conservative household, very, very conservative.
My turn to get goosebumps, dude.
I married into a very liberal family, right? And all of a sudden I was like, I'm hearing like things that don't make sense. And somehow all of these people are under the umbrella of Mormonism and allegedly like the most blessed, most intelligent, most whatever people, right? So I'm like, how do I work through this? And then one day I literally woke up, like sat up in bed and realized, what do you think, Kevin? I don't even remember what it was about. I venture a guess that it was about like Gore Bush, somewhere in that range of time. Maybe not the actual like election, but maybe like as that election was moving forward.
I remember that very well.
But I remember being like, but it doesn't matter what my wife at the time thought. It doesn't matter what my parents think. What do I think? What the fuck do I think? And literally that day I re-registered as an independent. I was like, fuck this shit.
Guess what? You know, and we all have this shared background in Mormonism. They don't encourage you to think on your own. It's not what does Kevin think, it's what does the prophet want? What does Jesus, aka the church, want? What is the church?
I've
it's
literally
not about you thinking for yourself.
No.
I've literally heard from friends where they're like, I'll ask them like, because you guys know me, I'm encouraging my friends and family to go out and vote, and hopefully like I'll try to swim one way or the other. And I seriously, the last election season, I heard from tons of different friends where they're like, oh, I don't really vote. I just my parents fill out the ballot and they send it in.
What the fuck?
Are you serious?
Like wow. at least a half dozen people said that.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this.
Like
I can totally believe it, but yeah.
Like they're literally like, oh no, I really like whatever my parents believe, I believe, and that's it. They don't think for themselves. They're just do like whatever.
Let me quote to you from one of the juvenile chants of Mormonism. Follow the prophet. Follow the prophet.
Don't go astray.
Follow the prophet. Don't go astray.
Repeated 3
follow
times.
The prophet. Follow the prophet. Follow the prophet.
Repeated 3 times.
And I emphasize, he knows the way.
What is wanted?
No, like, and you know what? The same thing can be said for Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking around.
Follow the Bezos.
I've literally said, numerous times, like over and over again, like, I go to Amazon, even if I'm at a store, a brick and mortar store.
I know.
I go to Amazon and I look at the reviews because I'm like, God, I want to know, I want to get the best deal. I want to get the
best thing.
Like we let everyone else think for us. And by everyone else, I mean those in power, those with money, the elite of society.
And then I think you touch on such a powerful idea.
So
maybe it deserves its own 2-hour discussion, but the idea of, think for yourself and what that means. And I do believe that by virtue of leaving the Mormon church or any high demand religion, you are forced to confront that question. What do I think? Because no longer do I have some strong personality or central figure of authority saying, this is the way, this is the way.
And it's a difficult question.
It is. And we should definitely talk about that. What do you believe and why? And what makes sense?
I actually, I had this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it's all part of growing up and something that was held back from us.
Yep.
Yeah. I apologize because whenever I get drunk, I just start talking.
Keep talking,
feel
man.
free to be like, Will, you need to shut the
I'll
fuck
go
up.
after you, Will.
It is thirst impressions after all.
So I had this friend I was actually talking about him today, who was very Molly Mormon, very, very conservative. And this is maybe a really unique story because it's one of the very few stories where somebody actually changes their mind after having a conversation online. But I had like an argument with him on Facebook about he always like posted these questions, and like he was really trying to engage with people on social media, which is very odd because people don't normally like actually be like, I want to have a discussion about this. They normally just post their thoughts, right? Well, he had posted this like question, like asking about like what is the nature of God? And I had posted something like it was I won't get into details. It was kind of a pantheistic, look this up, is it was a pantheistic view on God, which is more of the type of flavor of spirituality that I tend to subscribe to. And after that,
so wait, what does that mean? Like you believe in Zeus and shit?
No. So a pantheistic view of God is more. This is my personal like kind of interpretation of it. Is it's more of a view that like if God is omnipotent and if God is omniscient, then therefore God must be the universe. Because how could you be omniscient and all powerful without knowing the exact? This is the way I describe it. Like if you were omnipotent and omniscient, you would have to know, in order to be that way, you would have to know how every single indivisible particle of the universe is behaving at any time,
right?
At all time, during not just like in the present, but in the past and the future.
That's
like,
always been a mind twister for me. Like how
it's a paradox, and a lot of ways people describe it is like it's a higher dimensional being who time itself is a physical dimension as opposed to an experience dimension, like how we have it. But anyways, so I kind of portray this pantheistic view, pan meaning like all things. So that's what pantheistic is you kind of have a view that the universe itself is God. And I can have a whole discussion on that. That's very simplistic and it doesn't explain everything. But anyways, for context, that's just for context for the story. And so I kind of explain that's kind of my more interpretation of spirituality and my belief system. And he seemed, after that conversation, he seemed to really have kind of an impact where he was questioning like, oh, that we had a good back and forth where we're discussing things. And he started like reading all these different books, and he eventually left the church. But this is what I'm getting at, is not only did he leave the church, but his view on politics radically changed, where before he was very conservative and now he is very progressive. And he posted stuff about like Pride Month and like how supportive he is of the LGBTQ plus community. And so it kind of goes to the point that you guys were talking about, is we're growing up, we were like told like, think this, think that, think this, think that, that's good, that's bad. Everything was like dictated to us. But once you start thinking on your own, you start making those connections where you realize that all those things you were taught go contrary to the things you personally believe. Like you want the world to be a better place. That's why you thought you were part of that religion. And all of a sudden you learn, oh, I can make different choices. And now you're exposed to this entirely different view of politics and society and culture.
It runs way deeper than that.
It's mind-blowing.
It's deeper than that too, though, because, and Kevin can understand this, and I guess Belinda by extension, because of the temple, it's like they seek to even remove and replace your identity, as Kevin and myself had the first name Elder. That was how we identified.
Yeah.
Weird to hear your first name like that level of mind control. Or in the case of Belinda, Kevin and myself going through the temple and essentially saying, this is your new name. And you're like, oh shit, what do I do with this?
What's your new name, Spencer?
I'm Gabriel.
Oh,
Gabriel.
Phoebe.
Oh,
I'm Ephraim.
Whoa.
Okay.
I prefer Eve.
Delightsome. Kevin, that's such a delightsome name.
It is. It's very delightsome.
Kevin and I have a friend friend who's kind of going through this process, right? Like he's just barely kind of, he's more or less out of the church, but still trying to explore these ideas of like, what he believes, right? And he's asking genuine questions and looking for genuine answers, but he's still in a spot where like he doesn't understand, or he's still kind of under in the influence of ideals and teachings that he was brought up with, right?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Somebody we were with within the past 3 nights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a process though. It's a process.
It is. It is.
For some people rip off the Band-Aid and they're like, fuck this shit, I'm out, whatever. And there are people near and dear in my life who've done that. Cool, kudos to you. But sometimes it's a real process.
Oh, absolutely. When my sister said she was leaving the church, I was like, I don't want to know anymore. Right? Like, sometimes it's like, I'm not ready.
That's what you're told. That's what you're told. Right. You shouldn't.
I wasn't ready. And when I was ready, it became very clear. Right? Like, but sometimes it takes a lot of time for people. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot of time.
Now that you say that, Belinda, it just made me think, I think I kind of remember, because it did take time for me too, when my mind was exploring different ways of thinking about things, right? After you leave the church. And I remember I was very into Tinder, and I love Tinder so much. And I had this awesome lady over, and we were just talking about things, because I always veer off to like politics and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, so you're a feminist?" And I was like,
"Obviously."
No. This was like before I had.
You were just like, thought about I am.
No. Like seriously, this was before I was politically woke. Like I didn't even think about politics. And she was able to see like this change. Well, not the change. Like she saw the current self of me trying to explain feminism to her, and she was like, "Oh, so you're just a feminist." And I remember that like switch in my head where I was like, I guess I am.
Shit.
I am a feminist. Yeah. And I like literally like the rest of the next night, because I was busy the night before, I was researching everything about feminism, and I was like, wow, how did I not know about this?
I'm totally this.
Yeah. No, I was completely like, oh, I guess I don't need to like actually come up with any arguments, because these people already thought about everything.
Here's why. That's the F word, right? Feminism. Like I used to always joke about that. Like, I don't want to say the F word, and people are like, what? I'm like, feminism, and they're like, oh. No. And same with the S word, socialism. Right?
Shit.
It's not shit.
Okay.
It's socialism. But we're taught, like, as bad as swearing is, as bad as saying shit and fuck is, like socialism and feminism is way worse.
Yeah, I would
like way worse.
Growing up where I grew up, sex was worse than socialism. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
Mormon household, but
I can understand that.
So not where you were, but where you were.
Yeah.
Like
where I was.
Not Jamaica so much, but like Mormon Jamaica.
Yeah.
So I have a couple like expansions from this. So
I
have like this Instagram acquaintance, and she has kind of taken on the establishment of Mormonism in the past week or so.
Is this Latter-day Labia?
Huh?
Is this Latter-day Labia?
No, and I love that account. I just found it because of her.
I messaged her and I was like, "Can I donate to what you're doing?"
I was like, "Oh, fuck, that's amazing!"
Yeah, I was like, "Can I please donate?" You're amazing.
Did you see the necklaces they sell that are like the Young Woman Recognition Awards?
But it's labia.
They
look
like labia.
Oh, that's incredible!
I know. Anyway, so I need to get one of those. But so this person that I'm acquainted with on Instagram. So a few weeks ago, there was an article that came out by a progressive Mormon woman about the Operation Underground Railroad.
Oh, is that the one I sent you?
Maybe.
I bet it is.
I bet it is. Meg Conley.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Meg Conley wrote this thing about how she came out against Operation Underground Railroad, which was the kind of the cause that all the Mormons took up during Black Lives Matter, so that they didn't have to be Black Lives Matter. They were like, we care about children, though.
Oh God.
We care about kids.
But it was really related to QAnon too. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it
was.
Belinda, you described that. That is like the perfect description, because like the QAnon stuff was picking up, and I think the Mormon community was a little skeptical about the QAnon stuff. Yeah. Like it was like,
they just felt left out, man.
Yeah, they felt left out.
Well, and then didn't have permission to take up the Black Lives Matter banner.
This is supposed to be a marvelous work and a wonder. No one held hand can stop the work from progressing, Will.
But then R came, and R actually we'll make sure that this article is part of the video description.
Sure. All the articles.
Because this article by this lady is amazing. And she describes it as a cult. She describes it as a cult within a cult.
Or are you talking about Christy Boyce? Because first there was Meg Conley, and Meg Conley called out the OUR movement, and then Christy Boyce called out the church as a cult.
No. I think I'm talking about the second lady.
For sure.
Yeah, she described it as a cult within a cult. Yeah, and it was kind of the Mormon, the like household, not the household, the Mormon, like the women of Mormons, the Mormon women kind of like banded around this R group, because OUR, Operation Underground Railroad, that organization is ran by Mormons, and so they kind of felt like they had permission to do the R stuff during Black Lives Matter.
Isn't it
run? Have permission to do the QAnon stuff, because it wasn't like you have the Desnats, but you don't really have like the crazy Mormons.
So
isn't it
the political stuff?
Isn't it run by Captain Moroni?
It might be. I don't know. the guy is like, he wants to be a cult leader.
True. So the girl, Christy Boyce, she's fucking amazing, by the way. Amazing. She was like, he's got big Joseph Smith energy, right? Like she's like, wants to be like the head of this big movement. So Meg Conley was a progressive Mormon, kind of mommy blogger type chick that was like popular with kind of more like liberal Mormons, right?
Progressive.
The progmos, as they say, right?
Do not get me started on the progmos. Do not get me started.
And I was just trying to find that article, but I can't find it.
She wrote
I'll find it for you, Spencer.
Article about the OUR and how it was kind of like an insidious organization, and it was not good. And she finally saw through it, right? Christy Boyce was like, yes, and there's a reason that you didn't see through it initially, and it's because you're in a fucking cult. You're in a cult. And this is a difficult word to say for Mormons, and
not for me,
Mormons, because you're in a place where you don't want to exclude or alienate people. You want to like lead them out gently in a way, right? And she's like, no, it's just a cult. It's just a cult. And I did in a hardcore way. She's amazing.
That's true.
I got to know her a little bit last summer. We were going through some similar issues, we're part of a lot of the same groups. But when she wrote this, it was a revelation. Like it was amazing. And she just really called out the church for what it is, which is a cult.
Yeah. It is.
And it was triggering for many people who responded to her, including the person who she was responding to about Meg Conley, about her article, right? And it's called OUR, the Mormon Church and Me. Is that what it's called?
We'll put it in the show notes for sure. Yeah.
Oh, we have to link it. Like, so Meg Conley's article is great, and I love it, and it's a great stepping stone. And then Christy Boyce's article is a further stepping stone if you're ready to go there. And sometimes people are not. It's a difficult stepping stone to see. Yes, exactly.
I am not ashamed to call the Mormon Church a cult.
Right. Yeah. It's difficult,
you gotta
right?
extend the thumb, Kevin.
So many people don't want to say it's a cult to avoid alienating them and
their relatives. Yeah.
I remember people calling the Mormon Church a cult, and I was just very uncomfortable with it.
For sure.
Let me on the truth. Let me like put down.
Speak the truth, Will. Speak the truth. Yeah.
So, okay. The truth is, all religions are cults.
True.
I agree.
Every single let me asterisk this is every single organized religion is a cult.
Right.
If it is a spirituality is fluid, it's dynamic, it goes from an extreme one end to an extreme other end.
It leaves room for interpretation, right? Like it gives you room to build your own beliefs upon it, right?
And that's the way I have my belief system and believe like supernatural things is I have my own, I don't know, I have my own spiritual
take on it, right? Yeah.
And if you join an organized religion, they have a set spiritual belief that you have to subscribe to, and that itself is a cult. Yeah. That is what makes it a cult.
Yep.
And so the Mormon religion, the Catholic religion, the Islamic religion, the Judaism, like every organized religion itself is a cult.
Yeah.
Anyone who gets tax credits or tax breaks, like pays zero taxes essentially.
No, I was reading
like Amazon.
I'm sorry,
Amazon's a fucking cult for sure.
Amazon's a cult. Like cult, if you look up the definition on Google or on Oxford Dictionary, if you want to be more precise.
Google's a cult.
Google is a cult.
And
a cult is I think I would have to Google this again, but it's something like a peculiar religion.
We're a peculiar people.
There's high demand. There's erasing your identity. There's information control. There's coercion. There's all sorts of elements that go just the bite model, if you will. You can look that up.
Yeah. No. The bite model is a pretty revolutionary idea because it starts to actually like put a degree to the cultiness of a religion.
So I read an account of a Jehovah's Witness who heard a podcast about a Mormon leaving Mormonism, and they were like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving the Jehovah's Witness religion. And that was like a revelation to them that like, oh, this is how I'm moving towards like real like knowledge, and like I'm gaining information, and like this poor person, like they lost their entire family, they lost every friend they ever had in their religion, right? Like, and who knows how that goes, right?
Yeah,
we do. They're like they've gone off the deep end, and they're a terrible person, right?
Yeah, okay. This is the Oxford Dictionary of cult. Is a system of religious veneration and devotion towards a particular figure or object. That describes every single religion. So when this is to friends and family who are watching who might be offended. When I refer to something as a cult, that's what I mean. I mean like literally the definition of a cult. And Mormonism fits that definition perfectly. It does, yeah. You have veneration and you revere Jesus Christ.
And mostly Joseph Smith,
Young. No, but like it is, and then according to the bite model,
and Ronald Reagan.
it will like what the bite model adds like kind of clarity and definition to the level of cultiness. And Mormonism, I'm sorry guys, I love you. Like I wish you wouldn't be part of this religion, but you are, and I love you for it. But it is a cult, and it is a high degree of a cult. Yeah. I'm sorry, it is. I love you guys for it, but like.
So, did any of you guys see that Tad Callister article that was also kind of a big deal this week?
Is this the one that touches on the Pride Month, essentially?
Perhaps it's some former general authority, and he like goes online to be like, he's like, oh, welfare queens, blah blah blah, like. And he's like, oh, you should just stick out your marriage. And like, you know, like here, like everybody wants the state to be like the AirSat father and the AirSat, like, you know, like provider for your family. But like, what the fuck? Like, you know what? Perhaps that marriage was a terrible idea. Perhaps like they don't take any of that into consideration. And this general authority, it was in the church news recently, and the analogy he put forth was that like the church was this organization that was like a triage at the top of a cliff instead of an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. And so many people I know were like, there might not be a need for an ambulance in the bottom of the cliff if you weren't pushing people off the top of the cliff, essentially.
Shit.
Like really.
So fucking true.
That's true. That's so true.
Literally telling people they were not valid, their lives are not valid, their relationships are not valid because of like their sexuality or their orientation or whatnot, like they're like, I don't know, what the fuck?
I remember being on the other side though, and trying to come up with justifications and reasons why everything from why weed should be illegal to why gay marriage should be, you know, banned, to just being so highly critical and feeling justified in it of other people's lives. And it's like, who the fuck cares? Why does it matter? Like, can you guys just please leave this alone? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, I was in California when the Mormon Church did the whole Prop 8 push, and I remember how awkward that was. And I wasn't just in California, guys. I was in San Francisco. Yeah, I remember feeling like, no fucking way am I doing this. Yes, and over the pulpit messages, hateful.
I was gonna say, did you hear that over the pulpit?
Absolutely, yeah. But I just shrank away from all the assignments to do the phone banks or, you know, go door to door, things like. I was like, no fucking way am I doing that. No way.
That's right. I forgot the Mormon Church literally did like
bankroll.
We need to call people. We need to go door to door and knock on doors and say.
But here's the thing, though, bullshit, Kevin. Of all places in California,
I know, right?
It's like, good luck.
Oh Jesus!
That's how I feel about them right now, trying to fight the internet, essentially.
And thank God, right? Like, thank God it was California.
Good luck fighting the fucking internet when it comes to information control. Good luck, because you're gonna fucking lose. Has anyone ever beat the internet? Will, maybe you know more about this than I do. I don't think it's possible.
No, you're muted, Will.
I don't think it's possible at all.
I can't hear you, Will.
You're muted as shit.
Will's voice has
no. It's not possible to beat the internet. It literally if you post something on the internet, it will exist.
It's forever. It's forever.
So basically, stop sending
forever.
Ever never seems that long until it's gone.
Ever.
So longer than eternity.
Stop sending dick pics. Basically,
that's what she said.
Yeah, unless you're sending them to somebody you trust.
Unless you have a beautiful dick, then share it with the world.
But
just share it with the world.
Is there such a thing as a beautiful dick?
No, no. Dicks are, every single dick is ugly. Let's be honest. There's no good
snorted.
You speak truth, Will. You speak truth.
They all look like ugly mushrooms. I'm sorry.
See, but I love mushrooms, like edible mushrooms.
Kevin.
On pizza,
right,
of course.
Okay.
Culinary.
I mean,
Kevin, you missed the important word. Ugly mushrooms, not beautiful mushrooms.
There is no ugly mushroom in my book. And I don't think dicks are all that objectionable, to be honest. Like,
a dick is an ugly mushroom.
I think dicks can be beautiful. I'm not lying.
Oh my God.
Not sexually, but I think it's visual, it's aesthetic.
All right, no, fine. Dicks can be sexy, but they cannot.
No, I didn't say sexy. I said
be beautiful.
They can be aesthetic. Like they can be pleasing to the eye.
Toxic masculinity apart. Yeah, dicks can be attractive. It's okay.
Yeah,
they can be attractive, but they're not beautiful. Okay,
I'm
sorry.
Let the man use the words he wants to use.
Don't tell me what's fucking beautiful, Will.
I'm on Will's side.
All right. No, you guys are right.
I love that the two people who are like, oh yeah, I'd eat a dick, whatever. Like,
yeah, whatever.
Or like, no, they're bullshit. They're ugly. And the two guys who are like, I couldn't really. I'm not sure I'm behind that. Literally behind that. Or like, oh, they're kind of pretty. Like, they're cute.
Okay, there's this product I saw online. There's this product I saw online. I really want, but I can't bring myself to do it because kids.
What is it?
A giant penis, and it's about 4 feet tall. Remember the giant teddy bear at Costco, but imagine that as a giant cock. That is the pillow. I want that plush, and I want it. I need to sleep with it.
When is it arriving,
night.
Spencer?
I have not ordered it.
That would be a good cuddle pillow.
This is a song called Plush.
There are.
Sorry.
Okay, wait. Okay, let me steer us back on track. Okay?
Oh my God.
All right.
I hate that song so much.
I just have to say one thing.
And
Will.
Dick, apparently. Yeah.
One thing, Will. One thing. I was googling penis pillow, and I typed PENISH.
You were googling penis pillow?
No,
penis.
Penis.
It's penis.
Penis.
Okay, this conversation is desperate steering. Okay.
Of course, you were googling penis pillow.
Penis.
Okay. Belinda.
Oh Jesus!
What is something you would like to whine about?
Oh God, I think I've whined about most of the things I wanted to whine about.
Oh, there you go. That's fine too.
I mean, it was mostly about the Mormon, institution and the Tad Callister bullshit about welfare queens and bullshit. That's bullshit, right? We're not gonna. What's wrong with your keyboard, Kevin?
I spilled wine on it.
But did the wine have vodka? Because if it had vodka, you're okay. You'll be fine.
Yes, that's true.
It'll evaporate faster. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Give me the thing.
Being a Mormon is rough shit. It is. And because you're trying so hard to
rough shit once you start thinking
your beliefs, right? Like it's a job. It's a full-time fucking job.
Yeah, I was listening to another podcast by a famous ex-Mormon, John DeLynn. Anyhow, he was interviewing someone. She said, everything about the church was presented as fact. There wasn't even a question. Like, this is reality. God lives on a planet. You're going to be polygamist. All of this shit was, they didn't really talk about that. Yeah. Let's be real. But it wasn't a question of, okay, how do you feel about this, kids? It was, no, this is fucking fact. True. And if you want to go to college, you will believe this.
Yep. Exactly.
Follow the prophet. Follow the prophet.
I was telling Kevin the other day,
how we're gonna finish
a seminary teacher was presented the question of if you were an investigator, and I was thinking oh my God, if I was an investigator, I would not buy this shit one iota. Nope. I would be oh, what the fuck is this? This
especially
is
as an adult. Especially as an adult.
Exactly. I knew at the time, I was this is the craziest shit I've ever heard my entire life. So I would not buy it as as a non-Mormon, right? Like, who would? Like, it's really ridiculous. But you're sold it as like truth as a child and as an adolescent and as you're growing up, like you are fed these items of I don't know what to
lies.
Nuggets of bullshit. How about you, Will? What's up in your craw?
Honestly, life for me has been pretty good lately. I don't really have a wine. My only wine would be, I don't know. I hope everybody else, my wine is, I hope everybody else is having as good of a time as I am, because this world I don't understand. There's so much.
Oh, that's true.
The stuff that was happening to Palestinians and still is happening to Palestinians.
God, yes.
It really that made me so depressed, and it still makes me very sad.
But it ties in nicely to what Kevin was talking about, Belinda. It's like, question everything. I didn't know the origins of the conflict. I did not understand what was happening. Like, I mean, if you want to go far back enough, you got America and fucking Europe dividing countries and causing problems. Look at North Korea and South Korea.
Exactly.
Look at the fucking Middle East. Look at the entire continent of Africa and what they did.
Yeah,
right?
And still do.
I guess that's my wine, Spencer.
It relates to that. It's like, stop fucking with shit, man. Like, just leave people alone. Get the fuck out of Afghanistan. Cool. Thumbs up. I hope they actually do it this year.
I hope they do it.
I hope so.
Every country, like, you have no fucking business being
leave it alone.
I think I said this in an earlier episode, but my brother joined the military, and he, like, the way, like, okay, so it's really been a struggle for me because I am very anti-military. Not anti-military, I'm anti-international conflict. I believe everything could be actually solved if through a peaceful manner instead of warfare. And especially ever since my little brother joined the military, I sincerely believe, like, if you support the troops, you don't support war. If you support the troops, if you want to see my brother,
right,
his friends come home,
support,
you know what? The best way to do that is more peace. Exactly, Kevin. The way to do that is, you know what? Why do we have this military for offensive things? Let's have it be for defensive things like climate change. Why don't we
exactly
to plant 1 trillion trees in Africa? Like they literally have a project to plant 1 trillion trees in Africa. Why don't we deploy our military to do that?
Just do that shit. Yeah. Build one last aircraft carrier, right? Yeah. One last, then you can fund that whole thing. Yeah.
Who cares? Like, and it's been, I guess another part of my wine is, there was a report that came out by some international organizations who said that we are going to exceed the Paris Climate Accord guidelines by 2025. So that means that, like, the goals that we had set in the Climate Paris Accord to reduce emissions by a half by 2025 or 2030, we are going to far exceed our allotment in order to meet those goals way before 2025. And I know that sounds like a bunch of, like, scientific nonsense, and, like, a lot of people who aren't as quote unquote woke will be like, oh, well, who really cares about, like, the climate? Like, the climate isn't being affected. You know what? This year, if you guys haven't noticed in the news, Spencer Cox, our governor, for better or worse, who is a conservative, literally went and had a press conference the other day and said that we are going to experience a severe drought over the next year. And me as a Utahn, as somebody who loves the state and loves how beautiful it is, and I want to see it thrive, it makes me really sad because where are we going to get our water? What's going to happen? Are we going to have to try to figure out deals with other states to import water? Are we going to be able to live here? I just barely bought a house last year.
Here's the deal.
In 10 years, are we going to have clean water? Are we going to have water at all?
Man.
They want to push this water crisis on the consumer, the person who's like using it to water their lawn and bullshit.
No.
That's not who's using this fucking water. Though people who are using this fucking water, NSA, big business. These are the fucking people who are like feeding cattle and bullshit.
Temple Square.
People who are using this water. And when they tell you that you need to conserve water by like not watering your front lawn, okay.
Technically, it will conserve water.
Have front lawns in Utah, like it's bullshit. Like we should not have lawns in the front and the back and all these other things. Like it's shit. But us watering our front lawn is not going to destroy the environment like the NSA and like.
But Belinda. So we actually have a mutual friend in common, L, I guess, LD, I guess.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I had a conversation with them, and they were explaining to me that like a big portion of the state, like the water consumption comes from like unregulated farmers. And I'm not saying like we need farmers in Utah. We really do.
Of course.
And yes, Spencer. My understanding is if we like, I hear you, Belinda. It is not on the consumer. I am 100% on the same.
They're pushing that ideal on you because they're like, well, let's conserve water. Yes, let's conserve water, but also business and government are consuming so much more water than the consumer that they say.
But also, Belinda, is if we created a market where like a front lawn and a backyard and all these things that consume so much water, if we actually like incentivized like through the Utah state government, if the Utah state government was like, you know what, we're going to pay you like a couple $100 a month for a year if you transform your yard from being a water hog into a water conservative. We're gonna be a nature conservative environment.
Or
doesn't care about that shit because it actually doesn't matter.
See, but that's what I'm saying, Belinda, is I think if the government actually wanted to incentivize and be able to be like, hey, look, we're going to be experiencing the drought that we are going to experience for the next several months. There may even be, I maybe jumping the gun right now, but like if we start having to have things like South Africa had a few years ago and California had a few years ago, where we have water rations, what are we going to do?
I just got a message from the city of Lehigh.
Doesn't fucking matter. Our conservation isn't going to make a difference.
It's
not going to fucking make a difference.
No, and I'm not arguing with
agricultural. It's industrial. It's absolutely
it's agricultural.
Both of those.
100%. It's agricultural. It's industrial.
Watering a front lawn is not going to fix.
But what I'm saying, Belinda, is if we had a infrastructure, meaning the state of Utah came together and was like, you know what, we are going to pay you to convert your yard to be water conservative, and we are going to actually pay you to make sure that you're using less water. And you know what, we're going to buy all the water organizations here in Utah, and we're going to make them owned by the state, because you know what? Private organizations shouldn't own water.
Oh my God, what?
Okay, I'm going on a rant.
No, anyway, you're right. No, you're fucking right, Will.
It's right.
Is that they blame it on individual consumers, and they place the blame on individual consumers as like, oh, you're watering your lawn. Oh my God, like, look at you wasting all this water. No, the fuck you're not. It is on big business. It's on agricultural. These are the people that are using up all of Utah's
100%.
water.
No, Belinda, you know what?
There's no arguing it. Like,
you've changed my mind, Belinda. I'm 100% on
difference in the water that's available in the state.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
That's my wine. That's so. Let me finish this. That's my wine. I'm sick of. I don't really have a wine. All I'm really concerned about is
water.
The world is like, I wish people could wake up and realize that there are problems that we've been lied to about.
Agreed.
They're like such as the Palestinians being literally terrorized by the Israelis and the U.S. government's
being
compliance and complicity with the Israeli government
and funding.
Yep.
And funding.
Yep.
Biden signed a $1 billion agreement to send more weapons to Israel.
Right.
You know what? Okay. This is just. I'm just wrapping up. I understand. You know what? Every single sovereign foreign nation deserves the right to defend itself, including Israel.
Sure.
But you know what? So does Palestine. Palestinians deserve the same exact. Why don't the Palestinian people have an Iron Dome? Why doesn't
yes
build a Iron Dome for the Palestinians?
Why don't we not have fucking Iron Domes? How about that bullshit right there?
The Iron Dome being like some sort of like.
No, the Iron Dome's like a description of like their defensive measures that they have available to protect themselves.
Kevin, what is the what is the Palestinian terrorist group called again? What is it? What do they call it? Hamas. Yeah. You know what? Hamas. Okay, this is. Let me just wrap up. Is Hamas wouldn't have sent missiles into Israel if Israel wouldn't have attacked the neighborhood and the sacred mosque that they were worshiping in during Ramadan. You know what? If Israel wouldn't have committed that offensive attack on Palestinians, that organization, the Palestinian organization, would not have needed to send missiles into Israel. So I understand that Israel has its right to defend itself, but so does Palestine. So does that 9-year-old little girl who had to get on camera and say, I don't know what to do. I just want to be a doctor and save all my neighbors, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 9 years old. I can't do anything. That little girl wouldn't have needed to say that if Israelis wouldn't have been so offensive to the Palestinians.
Right. No. Like, you've seen the video of the person pointing a gun at a little Israeli boy. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
I've seen the video of the fucking Palestinian police shooting a 12-year-old girl in her doorway. Like,
and we've seen the videos of the Israeli Defense Force rounding up Palestinian journalists.
Here's the thing. The people of America and Christian society as a whole equate Jesus as like the equivalent of Israel, right? Like they are like, oh, Jesus is Israel.
Yeah, no.
And this is what Mormonism does. They're like, Jesus is the same as Israel. And they make this equivalent and then they like justify it. And it's fucking bullshit. Yeah. Israel is not Jesus.
Yeah.
If you believe anything that Jesus taught in the Bible, it's not even close to any of this bullshit.
So to wrap up my wine and wine is we to go back to Kevin and Spencer's and Belinda's points is we just need to be more open-minded. You really need. I had this experience on Twitter this past week. or at least not me. There was the discourse where a very liberal person was posting some nonsense about a headline that they had read. Don't just read the headlines, people. If you are going to comment on something on social media, make sure you read the article. Make sure you actually understand what it is you're talking about.
And make sure you don't even just read the article. Read the opposing viewpoints article too. That's how you trust no one. That's how you think for yourself.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say, Kevin, is if you're going to read an article, understand that there is no neutral author. Yeah. There's no neutral reporter. Every single reporter has a motive. It is incentivized by capitalism. By the Washington Post is going to post anti-union things because they don't want Amazon to unionize because Amazon owns Washington. Something as simple as that. What I'm saying is, make sure if you're reading an article, make sure you understand the context in which it is written in. Make sure you understand the context of the society that it is written in. Make sure you understand that the Palestinians, they are people. Make sure now that we are in Pride Month, make sure you realize that transgender people are valid, that they are people, that they are here, that they are loved. Make sure you don't post, I don't know, just make sure you are open-minded. Try to absorb both sides.
Think before you post. Think before you post.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to say.
I love it.
I love it so much. I will say, I've been waiting a long time to say this. Pull up your lawn and plant some fucking food.
Yes.
We all fucking eat. Use your water that you were going to use to grow something that you were going to literally mow down and throw in the garbage and make someone use petroleum to drive around your neighborhood and pick up. Like, use it to grow some fucking tomatoes. They're delicious. Put it with some mozzarella, put it with some fresh basil you grew from here, and eat that shit up. It's delicious. Buy a nice bottle of wine, make some caprese, and it'll be a beautiful time. I'm just saying.
Amen.
Plant food, not lawn. That being said, God bless our farmers, right? And I don't believe in God, but like Satan, God, everyone bless our fucking farmers.
Bless the immigrants that make our food.
Fuck Monsanto. Fuck Monsanto. Fuck everyone who fucking tries to just like make an obscene amount of money.
Thank you, Jesus, for my food.
Yes, right? Like for real.
Honestly, Kevin. Okay, honestly, when people talk about when Mormons do their little hello God, thank you for this food, like the simple
nourish and strengthen my body.
I love how far removed you are. You're like, I don't even remember how they say it, but
honestly, the first of that prayer, I don't know how to say prayer anymore, but
I don't either.
What I was gonna say is,
dear Heavenly Father,
as somebody who is like pantheistic like I am, honestly, the best thing you can do is before you eat any meal, if you feel like you need to, and I actually do feel
acknowledge, right? Like,
I honestly think it is a good cultural ritual before you eat a meal to like do a toast, like not a prayer, like a toast, like thank you to all the farmers.
Out of wine, I drink
and vineyards.
Thank you to all the cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys. Thank you to all the animals that have given us the meat that we are about to eat. Sorry that we fucking tortured you, honestly. And thank you for the meat. Do that. Manifest to the...
Thank you for the meat.
Yes. With that,
in the name of Jesus Christ,
amen.
Amen. Thank you for the
And with that, you know what? Follow us on Twitter at ThirstPod. Go to Facebook, search for Thirst Impressions.
Thirst Impressions Podcast.
All the other things. Thirst Impression Podcast. and thirstimpressions.show for our show notes. We do an awesome job, and
there'll be so many show notes
we talked about.
And we're still waiting for your questions. We'd love to hear from you, so hit us up.
We would love to hear from you.
And we're sorry we missed last week. It was a rough week last week.
We're
here every week except last week.
That's what it's so weird to be here this week because we've been away for a couple weeks. It's like
it was Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And it was Memorial Day.
Oh, don't even get me started on Memorial Day.
No, we're not going to get into that.
Go there. We need to
not
alienate everyone.
Yes, and we will see you guys next week.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. I don't understand this conversation. What?
Was she the mama of all the baby Smurfs? I'm gonna go dance naked in the front yard. It's fine.
I'm pretty drunk. I drank my whole bottle of wine. You'll never believe it. It's all gone.
Just eat and masturbate all day. Why do Spencer and I love dicks so much? That's what I have a question about. They're pleasant. They're plump and no, I wouldn't say that either. They're plump and they're like cute. They're cute. I think they're kind of cute actually. They remind me of the Smurf houses from. Do you remember the Smurfs?